Hi and welcome everyone to the next episode of iRide.
Number 2.
Yes, that's right. Steve and I are back and we are here at Gold Coast Harley-Davidson in Nerang. So before we take a bit of a look around the shop, Steve, you're going to let us know what's coming up.
Yep, I'm still tingling after those rides on those Harleys. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was awesome fun.
So tonight we're going to catch up with Marnie Dennis from Ride Smart, and we're going to talk about the learner-rider process. Really interesting, a lot of stuff I didn't know about. We're going to have a talk to Steve Schilling, who's the dealer principal here at Gold Coast Harley-Davidson. You're going to bring us up to date on some of the recent events happening around the place and some of the inspirational women, but the thing I'm really looking forward to is what to do if you're first on scene at a motorcycle accident. We're going to talk to Michael Young from First Aid for Motorcycles about that really important thing to do if you want to be a motorcyclist.
That's right, and we're also going to have a bit of an update from Motorcycle Riders Association of Queensland.
Yep.
And some really interesting rules and laws that have come into place that we're going to talk about as well.
So hang around after the break and we'll be back with Steve Schilling from Harley-Davidson Gold Coast.
Gold Coast Harley-Davidson.
Gold Coast Harley-Davidson.
Get it right. We need to write it down.
Holy cow, can you imagine a whole grid full of those 765 Triumph triples at the Moto2 next year? It's going to be really exciting. So we're sitting here at Harley-Davidson on the Gold Coast Harley-Davidson, and we're with Steve Schilling, who's the dealer principal. Steve, thanks for obviously allowing us to use the shop for the show. It's fantastic. Tell us a little bit about kind of why you're here and how long you've been here.
Gold Coast Harley-Davidson, we've been here in this building for 4.5 years, since June 2014. The old store was just too small, and we couldn't service the Gold Coast customers in a proper way. We're a destination dealership on the Gold Coast, so all your Harley-Davidson needs.
Yeah, and it is a really big store. We've had a bit of a look around, and there's even a place out the front where you can or you can come inside, grab yourself a coffee, go and sit out the front, or before a group ride and things like that.
So you get a lot of group ride stuff from here? Yeah,
we do get a lot of group rides. Obviously, we've got the Gold Coast Hog chapter that ride out of here on a regular basis. One Saturday a month, they have their hogs and dogs. People can come down and register for the Hog chapter, meet up with friends. As I said, it's a destination dealership. It's on the highway. There's plenty of good riding around the Gold Coast, so it's a good place for people to meet. And yeah, it's Harley-Davidson. It's not just about a motorcycle. It's about a lifestyle.
That's right, and it's a community as well. Like we have actually, well, as you know, I've organised a few charity rides, and we've actually met here as well.
Yep.
For the Steel Horse ride, helping out with Rebel FM Ash. Yeah, which has been really good. Such a good venue. I love it here. It's really welcoming as well. So.
Thank you.
So you've got, you say destination dealership is in terms of the fact that it's a one-stop shop.
Yes.
So people can come here, get what? You've got the full range of Harley-Davidson apparel?
We've got genuine Harley-Davidson motor clothes, new motorcycle sales, genuine pre-owned bikes, spare parts. We've got a workshop with factory trained technicians. We offer finance insurance for our customers.
You do tyres as well?
We do tyres as well.
Yep.
There's a bit of bling around the place as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Owning a Harley-Davidson is all about dressing it up, right, customising it to how you want it.
Definitely.
So it's good to display what's available for your motorcycle, for your Harley-Davidson, and there's plenty of wall space to have that, as well as bikes on the floor that are customised so that they can inspire you to how you want your bike.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so really it's just limited by their own imagination then, isn't it?
Their imagination and our imagination at times as well.
Yeah, okay, cool. Awesome. really cool bikes we rode in on. Tell us a little bit about those.
The motorcycle that you rode in on was the 2019 Road King Special. They've changed for this year, Street Glide Special, Road King Special, Road Glide Special, and the Ultra Limited have now gone from 107 Milwaukee 8 motor to a 114 Milwaukee 8 motor.
Hearing some amazing things about that engine. What's the big difference?
Mainly the capacity, a little bit better performance. Obviously in 2017 when they upgraded the Milwaukee 8, they upgraded the Tourers, they improved the suspension. Much nicer bike to ride, smoother bike to ride. It has more power, more efficient. So the 114 is just a natural step up. But it is a fantastic bike to ride.
You looked really cool on it too. What about the one that
Kylie, the Street Rod 750.
Yep.
We're still running those out, 2018 models, but they're a great bike. And retail price at the moment of $9,995 right away, making an extremely good value Harley-Davidson, entry-level Harley-Davidson, but also something fun that you can ride around the Gold Coast. Zip in and out of traffic. So. Yeah.
And it looks cool too.
So I hear that Harley-Davidson bring out an electric bike, is that right?
They are, live wire. In the US and Europe, it will be released as a 2019 model. In Australia, we should see it 2020.
Yep.
So we're a little way off just yet for the Australian market.
So recently you were over in the Harley-Davidson convention, is that right? In the US?
The annual dealer meeting over in San Diego for 2019 where they released all the new models, new parts, and generally everything Harley-Davidson for the dealers.
Yeah.
Is there anything about that adventure bike?
Not yet. No. We're a little way off.
All right.
Look, it's a very competitive market, the adventure bike. So Harley-Davidson will get it right, and they need to get into the market with the right product. And I've got full confidence that by the time it's released in the US, in Australia, that it will break into the market. What we were very impressed with was the new 2019 FXDRS, the FXDR 114, which we will launch this weekend, and it's the new power cruiser, brand new model for this year using the Softail platform with the 114 Milwaukee 8 motor. And we're looking at big things with that.
So that'll be this weekend, you're saying, here at Harley? Like anyone can come down?
Everybody in Australia, all Harley-Davidson dealers are doing it. But at Gold Coast Harley-Davidson, we'll have an open day where people can test ride the bike. And I've ridden it, and it is a good bike. And as I said, it's a power cruiser. So it's the most powerful Softail they've ever made.
I was going to say, because they've revamped their Softail range, haven't they?
They have, yes.
Yeah. So what are the big changes in that? Just in the scope of bikes available?
Probably narrowed the Softail range down a little bit, but more so they've redesigned the motorcycle. 2018 was the first time we saw them. The Fat Boy was the biggest difference. Obviously, such an iconic motorcycle, just had a modern revamp. Going to the Milwaukee 8 motor. Also, they changed the suspension. The whole frame changed. A monoshock in the rear. And just updates.
So the Softail range revamped, which is great, but this new one, the FXDR, maybe we should bring the cameras down for that open day you've got and see if we can have a look at it a little more closely. Huh?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, cool.
Sounds good. So thanks, Steve. And Steve, you caught up with Marnie from Ride Smart.
Yep.
What was all that about? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, well, we're going to have a chat with Marnie. We caught up with her a little earlier in a week, and she's just bringing us up to speed with the process of getting your motorcycle learners, and what that process involves. So let's go have a chat to Marnie. Hey Marnie, so I remember when we first got licences back in the 70s and 80s, it was a pretty simple process of basically turning up to the police station, check a box to say that, I can see you right up and down the street, and that was it. The process has changed a lot now. There's a curriculum in place.
There is,
the trainers have to be trained.
Yes, there is.
The riders have to be trained to a certain specific curriculum designed by the Queensland Government, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, this all changed in October 2016.
Okay.
This new curriculum came into effect across Queensland, and all of the training providers, the registered service providers, deliver the same curriculum.
So the process is designed just to get a licence, or is there a riding process they go through as well? Just walk me through the steps.
Sure. So initially, the first stage is to get the pre-learner licence. So that's the entry level.
Okay, so they can't ride on the road until they've completed that course.
That's correct, Steve. So the pre-learner is the entry level to a licence. It's a 2-day course. The course contains 34 modules of assessment, and on completion of that, there's obviously also an online questionnaire. Once those 2 elements have been completed, then the person will be issued with a learner licence.
Okay, and they get those fantastic yellow L plates.
That's right.
So what if someone grew up riding motorbikes, motocross, whatever, they're very, very competent rider, do they still have to do those 34 modules?
They do. And obviously sometimes they're like, but can't I just, do part of the course and, complete the questions? And we're like, well, look, this is the curriculum, so you'll follow through with this one. And quite often their response at the end is, hey, I learnt this, I learnt that, I'm going to take that on the track now. So there's always a positive at the end of them completing these courses.
So once someone's got their L plate, they're right to go?
They are. So once they have their L plate, that's when they can then continue to learn to ride, obviously entrusting their family and friends. There's some great social groups as well, and also here at Ride Smart we offer one-on-one training courses, group training courses.
But they've got to have someone follow them?
They do. They need to be supervised at all times.
Okay, by someone with a motorbike licence?
Someone with an open motorcycle licence, so being that they're at their first stage, that would be a restricted, an RE, which must been held for 1 year.
Okay. Someone asked a question during our first program about whether or not they can be followed by someone in a car. So, for example, they don't have 2 motorbikes. They
can be followed by a car. However, the same principle applies. That person must have held an open licence for a year before they can follow them.
So they've got their learner's plate. Is there a certain number of hours they need to do with an L plate on?
No logbook hours, not like the car licence, but it is recommended, and we do obviously discuss that with them before they leave us, that we want them to try to experience lots of traffic riding, lots of residential, obviously where there's lots of, give way and stop and busy areas, just to build their skills. Sometimes they will, head up to the mountains as well, but we try to, steer them clear a little bit.
So, is there a limit on the size of bike?
The limit is the 660cc, LAMS approved, so they can't exceed the wattage, the 150 kilowatt per tonne. So they're restricted up to 660 for that 3-month period whilst they're learning, and then obviously once they attain their next licence for that as well.
Do you recommend people go straight to the biggest capacity bike they can?
It's hard to recommend because obviously that's a personal choice for students. We find that a lot of students tend to go mid-range. 300s seem to be very popular, then stepping up to 500s. I guess if they have held and had experience prior, they're generally going to try to get the biggest capacity they can afford.
Everybody loves horsepower.
That's right.
Okay, so once they've got their learners and they've done that process and they've completed was there a period of time? There's no logbook hours, or is there a period of time they have to wait?
There's 3 months, so it's a minimum 3 months on their learners, and that's to give them that time to gain experience. Obviously they can hold that period longer, so that's the minimum time that they need to hold it for. And sometimes they will take longer before they feel confident enough to come back and sit for their RE assessment.
So what is that assessment entail? What happens after they come back and say, right, I'm ready for my licence, for my Ps, I suppose, is it?
Yeah, so after they've completed their time period, their 3-month period, and they feel ready and confident to go for their RE assessment, they enrol in a 7.5-hour course And it's training and assessment, so we're there to help them and assist and coach. Obviously, the more experience they've had in that time of being on their learners is going to give them, you know, more of an opportunity to feel confident in passing their RE assessment.
And then what, after that, you give a certification process?
That's right. So once they've been deemed competent, we're able to tick off the checklist and we're able to issue them with a certificate which they need to then update with Department of Transport or Transport and Main Roads, and then they're the lucky, proud owner of an RE licence.
There's a lot of women these days getting their licence, and you know, Kylie has got a whole group around women riders, which I think is fantastic.
It sure is.
And it's incredible the amount of women that seem to be getting involved in getting their licence. Tell me, do you see a lot of women coming through to do that, like mature age women or women of all ages?
Yes, well, I'm in that mature age woman category, and I do, and I have such a great rapport with these ladies because they're wanting to build their confidence. You know, their children have grown up, they now want to get off the back of the bike from their husband and they want to take control. You know, life changes have happened in their life. It could be something medically that has made them go, okay, I want to now tick that off my bucket list. And, you know, it's just really wonderful to be a part of that. But we are really seeing, you know, an increase definitely in lady riders.
Now, you mentioned the other day that you don't do women-only courses, but you end up with women-only courses.
We do. So we get very excited when we get a whole class of women, and you know, we take photos, and you know, they think it's wonderful, but we don't tend to, you know, have women-only classes. It's great to have them mixed together. You know, they build and learn together. So you know, it's important. Yeah.
I think it's terrific. So if everyone's following the same curriculum, if all of the Q-Ride classes around Queensland are actually teaching the same thing, and all of the instructors are certified to the same level, what makes Ride Smart stand out?
Look, to be entrusted with these people wanting to attain their licences, it can be very humbling to be part of their process, knowing that we're going to see them from complete beginner level through to the full unrestricted licence. You know, it's wonderful to be part of the journey and to see them on two wheels. Being in the industry for a long time, obviously, you know, we've built a reputation in the industry as being dependable and reliable. Our trainers are full-time, so we've got continuity in the industry. You know, quite often you're going to see the same trainer from pre-learner through to RE to R, which now there's 2 years and 3 months. So the trainers are passionate about what they do. We're passionate about what we do, and you know, we want to see people achieve their dreams.
So that's, Marty, that's terrific. We're really looking forward to actually coming back next month and having a chat, because you guys have started a new ADV course. You've got a whole heap of little 400 dirt bikes, DRZ Suzukis.
Yes, correct.
And you're teaching people who maybe have never been off-road before.
Very exciting, very exciting. Yes, very exciting. So it's been in the pipeline for the last 6 months, and we're now at the pointy end of being able to bring it to the people. So we've done lots of rides into the bush and trails, and we've got some exciting things to come.
Awesome. Really looking forward to that. I'm an adventure rider, so I'm looking forward to coming along.
Wonderful. You better teach us some tricks.
Let's see how we go.
Yeah, excellent.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Wow, how was that? That was an XT250 2-up jumping I don't know, 67 feet or something like that, crazy. Now, the story goes from the book that the pillion had only been on the bike a couple of times before that jump happened. So, you know, there's the story there. I'd like to find out what happened after that. Hey,
She's
honey,
so
let's go for a ride.
How brave is she? Oh my goodness.
So, Guinness World Book of Records has got a whole heap of information about recent motorcycle legends and things that people have done, so it's worth getting out to check out. We'll put a website and a link to that in the Facebook page, so go check it out. Now, unfortunately, Chris from the MRAQ couldn't be with us this time. Apparently people have got a personal life. So he's basically given us some information. I think we put something up on the Facebook page a little earlier in the month as well about the fact that lane filtering, or filtering on the verge in a variable speed zone, has now been approved, and I think that's really sensible. It's a really great rule.
It is a really good rule.
They're also talking about some safety stuff as well.
Yeah, that's right. So Chris has also, well, MRAQ of Queensland are looking into a safety gear rating. So your helmets, your jackets and your jeans have all now a star rating, and it's a company called MotoCap that are...
So it's a bit like the ANCAP rating system for cars kind of thing?
Yeah, that's right. So it's actually a star rating on all of your motorcycle gear and apparel. So your helmets, your jackets, I think gloves, like boots as well, all of your gear. So I had a quick look on the website, MotoCap website, and you can actually filter, you know, from the most highest rating to the lowest rating. There's lots of different brands on there. RJ's is right up the top, would you believe it? Okay. Which they're pretty, you know, reputable.
Yeah, but they're not paying us anything yet, so
no.
Let's not talk about them.
Okay. But no, there was almost every brand is up there.
But it's not legislation though. Like, this is just an idea they're talking about.
That's right. So it's just something that MRAQ are looking into. But, you know, you might also find it interesting. It's quite an interesting website, which is actually a really good idea, I think, anyway.
Oh, look, it sure is. I mean, the whole idea of being able to pick up a piece of equipment and have a look at the safety rating based on a set of stars, I think is something that we're all pretty familiar with, so it's a really good idea. Heaven forbid, you know, we have an accident, but they say the best gear you can buy is the most expensive you can afford, so that'll help you determine that as well. Talking about having motorcycle accidents, I mean, it's never a good thing, obviously, but we caught up earlier this week with Michael Young from First Aid for Motorcycles, who talks specifically about that situation. And one of the things we asked him was, what do you do if you're first on scene at a motorcycle accident? So let's go and have a look at that.
Oh dear. Just go down the road, stop cars. Just stay there, mate, be cool. You alright? Just stay still, okay? Just frickin' lie down, don't move. Stop! Go and stop bikes! Is there another bike up there? He reckons he got hit by another bike. Look at this. Oh dear. Where is he?
Hey, thanks for joining me, Michael. The whole context of being a motorbike rider obviously is the fact that it's a dangerous sport.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah. Look at what you're riding. So
That's right.
From there, you don't have the same protection as what vehicles and cars and that do. Yeah. So it is a potential weapon, I suppose you could call it that. So yeah.
So first aid training for motorcycles specifically focuses on teaching people who ride motorcycles what to do if you arrive at the scene?
Yeah, basically that's the course was set up that way to look at how to manage a scene, because we'll touch on a little bit of first aid, but it's more so what to do when you approach a scene, because there's a lot of fundamental things that can go wrong in that first stage, and a lot of things you need to follow so we can get some further help. So, and that's what we concentrate on.
So we just ran that crash and burn video clip, which is pretty tragic sight. Motorbike sliding down the road, group of riders coming up. What's the thing you need to do? What's the first thing?
Well, basically the first thing is, as what was happening on the clip, is to maintain the scene. You've got to actually stop other vehicles coming through, because you've got a potential there of further accidents. So if people don't know, so by putting riders around the corner where they can see the straights at either end to actually either stop or slow down. So
you've got a motorbike in the middle of the road, leaking oil or everything, so you just want to stop.
Basically you want to stop everything, because that's a potential danger in itself, because we want to prevent further danger.
That's right, you don't want anyone else to get hurt.
No, so because you've got oil, petrol, fuel, it makes it slippery, as well as an ignition flame, as you've seen with the fire that was happening there. So from that.
So you've got a rider in the ditch, or can be like you come across. There's no limit to the number of scenarios.
Yeah, you don't know. It's an unforeseen. So basically, you just got to step through step by step, and that's what we run through the course, is what steps to take. So the first one, as you've seen there, was to maintain some safety at the scene, so we don't prevent anything else from there. Then we need to establish who's who and who's injured. So from there, because as you've seen, there was a potential there that the second person could have been missed, because unless that person said there was another rider or a bike from there. So you really need to do a good search around the scene to make sure there is no one else around, so we can look after them.
There's no doubt in that clip, if that first guy had been unconscious, the second guy would have died. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, the only time you would have found him was when the fire started. So, and by then it may have been a little bit too late. So from there, so it's very important.
So secure the site.
Yep, secure the site.
What are the steps?
Then we need to establish our patients where they are, and from there, and get help. Right, so the next stage there
call triple O.
Yeah, 000 from there, so we can actually start to get emergency services on the way. So, because remembering first aid's the first step, so we now want to get some advanced medical there, plus obviously the fire brigade and police and all that.
So what if you're in an area, and there's a lot of them in Australia, where there is no phone signal, no phone coverage?
Yeah, basically when you're planning your riding trips, and we do talk about this, is you need to look at your personal identification. So like maybe a personal EPIRB if you're doing long distance stuff, what provider you have. So if you're a normal provider around town that doesn't have a lot of coverage, you might need to look at changing your provider level and things like that. The other one is, as the last extreme, is to actually send someone to get help. So, but my suggestion there is, when you do that, tell them to come back and let you know that you've done that. So you've got.
So if you've just ridden through a small town, you come across an accident scene, send someone back to the small town where there's either a landline or phone signal, and call the emergency services.
Make a call, and get them to estimate how far, so they know that when they tell the emergency services that they're 20 k's from that small town, so they then have a better idea. So you can get some app-based programs now. So for calling, like Emergency Plus is one, and the good thing with that is it actually gives the GPS settings as well. So if they actually send a helicopter or air wing, they can actually give a GPS setting to find where you are. So from there, which is really good.
So secure the site.
Yep. Secure the site. Get some help. All right. So get that underway, and then we need to look at safety around the patients. So then we'll start to look at our patient care. So because obviously there was a big issue there with the danger and the fire. As everyone would have seen, you move that person up onto the road. That's the correct thing to do, because if you hadn't have, there's a potential they could have been engulfed by the fire. So sometimes we have to do things.
So there's a whole heap of myths and kind of misinformation about the helmet. Do we leave it on? Do we take it off? Do we move the person? Do we not move the person? And that's probably a subject too big for now.
Definitely.
Can we get you back next month to kind of give us a bit more detail about that?
Yeah, we can work through that, because there are some guidelines around what to do.
Terrific. So you've got 3 key points.
Basically, keep the scene safe to start with. So the second one is to call for help.
Stop. Be the first one, wouldn't it?
Stop. Stop. And also be prepared to take charge, because sometimes people don't have the confidence, and that's what the course is designed around, is to give you the skills and the confidence to actually stop and manage a scene. Because little things like that is what's going to save someone's life.
Okay. So take charge. Actually, stop for the accident, because you hear plenty of stories about guys having crashes and everyone riding past.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So stop and take charge.
Yep.
Secure the site?
scene. Yep. So, and then arrange for further medical aid. So secure the scene, stop, take charge, secure it, and get some medical aid there. And then we start to look at our patient care. So from there.
So we'll talk in more detail in the next show about what to do once you've got all that taken care of.
Yep.
But in the meantime, if people want to find out about first aid for motorcycles, where's the best place to go?
Best place is to go to the website. Right. So from there,
it's called First Place.
Yep, firstaidformotorcyclists.com.au. From there, also the Facebook page. So you can just do a search on First Aid for Motorcyclists on Facebook page, and that will have all the details about what we do, where we are. First Aid for Motorcyclists is Australia wide. It's also got some areas in America as well, which we've expanded.
Oh, we'll probably put some links up and people can follow that.
Yep. Awesome. All the courses are printed up on there. Great. So fantastic.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us, and ride safe.
Now that was really interesting. I've actually done one of those courses and it was the best thing I've ever done. I learnt so much and I'm glad that I did it. Now coming up next, we are going to go to a quick break and then I'm going to talk about inspirational women, so stick around.
375 kilometres an hour, are you kidding?
That's amazing.
Incredible.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. But speaking of fast women, Anna Caruso, one of the, only 21 years of age, and the first female to win the world title in the Supersport 300.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
Incredible.
And speaking of inspirational women and fast women, I just wanted to mention Ladies' Day at the Raceway at Morgan Park on the weekend. We had the best day. It was a lot of fun. Now, I just wanted to say thanks to Sporties for putting it on for us. Every year they do this, and it is such a good, a good day for all of us to come and enjoy ourselves in a nice, safe environment. And I'd also like to say thank you to the mentors that supported all of the women on the day as well. They're just amazing women and they're super fast as well. And speaking of events, here's a list I've thrown together.
Well, that's the end of the show, so thanks very much for joining us, and particularly thanks to Steve from Gold Coast Harley-Davidson for allowing us to use the fantastic facility. But before we go, just tell us about some of the specials that you guys have got for people who live in the region.
We need to clear 2018 stock off the sales floor to make room for the 2019 models, which we're very excited about. So we've got a great finance offer running at the moment. You can check that out on our brand new website, www.goldcoastharley.com.au. That'll have all the information on there, and we're always running specials.
Awesome.
Excellent. Oh, thanks, Steve. And we're going to get back out on those bikes,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
we might not even come back.
All right, see you later.
Bye.